And I just wanted to welcome you guys into our new page. I'm so glad for this, and we're gonna be showing you guys how to shadow, how to do so many things, guys. We're gonna be meeting a lot of medical students, doctors from different specialties, and I know you guys are gonna enjoy it. You're gonna hear from their perspective. So we're gonna have a lot of pre-medical students and high school students take over our Snapchat, and you're gonna hear from their perspective on how they plan to get into medical school. Hope you guys are ready because our first Snapchat takeover is about to start in 5 minutes, guys, so just stay tuned with us.
Hey everyone, this is the first Snapchat takeover. My name is Vivian and I'm 18 years old and I'm finishing up high school in about December. So I just got to my job at Hollister and I've been working here since about last August, so almost a year. It's pretty cool. I seriously love it. If you're new to jobs and you want a job, I consider applying at Hollister. It's really fun, it's really easy, it's really laid back and cool, so yeah. I'm just background about myself. I'm Hispanic. I'm the oldest of about 8 kids in total, including step and half siblings. And I love being an older sister, it's fun. What interested me in the medical field ever since I was little, I've always wanted to be a doctor, for as far back as I can remember, So I'm about to go start my shift, but if you guys have any questions or anything, just go ahead and feel free to ask away. Okay, see you guys in a bit. Okay, so my first question I had, what classes do I recommend taking? I would say a ton of honors, just a ton of honors and a ton of AP or IB. I'd say most would do honors in AP or AP math and science. Those are your big ones. And then next question, who would I want to be in the medical field? I want to be a surgeon, either neuro, cardiac, or trauma. I'm between those 3 right now. So last year I took AP Chem, and because I'm graduating early in December, I'm taking only honors physics. This question, it was, is it easy to balance part-time job and school? It's not that bad. I'm homeschooled, so it's actually easier for me to do. For study tips and keeping my grades up, I would say do not procrastinate. If you procrastinate, all hell will break loose. That's basically it. Also, make sure your notes are organized. I organize by chapter, unit, and I make sure each section has its own little tab. Also, try not to cram, because I've noticed too when I cram, it's really hard to get work done. So I took AP Chem and I passed the test and I got college credit for that. I took AP Lang, passed the test, got that credit, and I took a whole bunch of like side college classes. Like I took medical terminology and yeah, that's it. And that was like medicine based, but the others were AP Lang, AP Chem, AP Psych, AP World History, and AP US History. I recommend doing a lot of volunteering hours, especially at a hospital. It'll get you noticed, even if it's just like doing filing and stuff. Also, I could recommend joining HOSA. It's a really good program for kids going into the medical field. It's really good. It looks great on college apps. And having a job and having school isn't that bad. You just have to make sure that you have priorities and that your time management is well. That's basically it, just priorities. Next question, what are my grades like? My grades are actually pretty good. I have mostly A's. I got a B last semester in math. In high school, in order to become a doctor, have good grades, of course, maintain a great GPA, go to a great university or college, and once you take the MCAT, of course, that's the exam to enter medical school. So just make sure you do great on that too. I got a question on paying for medical school. Thankfully and gratefully, my parents are actually paying for all of my college. And then other than that, I have of course scholarships and grants and stuff like that, but don't let anything come in the way of going to medical school. If you really want to become a doctor and that's your passion, go for it. Even if you have to take out a loan throughout your whole entire medical years, just go for it. Next question is what health and sciences I took. I actually took anatomy, biology, of course. I took biomed, Actually took also medical terminology and at a community college, and it helps you stand up even more because you're in college and in high school at the same time. So this next question is pretty long. What have I done to prepare for med school? So far I've just done a ton of volunteering. I also did HOSA, which is Health Occupation Students of America, and it's for kids that are interested in medicine. And also, make sure that you network a lot too. Is that what I was going to say? Even though you're young, make sure you do network. It's just, talking to your regular family doctor, your pediatrician, just make sure you network. Even if you go to the hospital, ask questions, get involved. Since I'm homeschooled, I graduate high school this December, and then next fall, 2017, I start college. For study tips, I would say don't procrastinate. Make sure everything is in order and in the way you would remember it most. I use a lot of highlighters and tabs. I also recommend that you at least go and study, your notes at least, every night for at least 15 minutes. Even if it's a little bit, just do it. So that way it gets stuck in your head and you get in the habit of studying, and then studying isn't so bad after all. And I recommend playing music, but not something you'll be distracted. My plans for the future is to become a surgeon, neurocardiac or trauma, and I volunteered at a hospital. Question, how did I pick what I wanted to be? It's just kind of something that came to me. You can't really, force it. You just kind of have to let it come to you. Since I was a little girl, I've always knew I wanted to be a doctor, and up until about 2 years ago, I decided I want to become a surgeon. So it's just something that just comes. I would say to help yourself pick, I would say, maybe shadow people if you can, shadow nurses, shadow doctors, shadow PAs as much as you can to see. The next question is if I have volunteered at a hospital. I have. It was a regular hospital. I was mostly doing filing and overseeing. So yeah. I plan on volunteering again, but this time at a children's hospital, hopefully in North Carolina, in January. So yeah. I got a question asking what HOSA is. HOSA is Health Occupation Students of America. You can Google it and a bunch of information will come up. HOSA is an international program for students going into the medical field. I suggest it a lot because, they have competitions, state and nationals, and the more you compete and, the higher level you place, you actually get qualified to go to nationals. So it actually looks really good. I suggest it a ton. Even if your school doesn't offer it, I know there's other places where you can go and join the program. I'll be applying to University of South Carolina, UNC Chapel Hill, and Charleston in South Carolina. So I got a question how to get into HOSA. If your school doesn't offer it, I would suggest going online to the website and seeing if any other place does. I forgot to answer a part of the college question. I'm actually going to be majoring in biology, so wish me luck. Good study tips for APs, just study. It's the same thing for everything, just study. Do not cram. Do not cram. Do not procrastinate. Don't do any of that, because I remember I did that in the beginning and it was heavy. And I got a question asking if it's possibly more than one type of surgeon. I don't think so, but I would suggest general surgery. I got a question on HOSA and costing money. There are dues. I don't know if the amount has changed, but there are dues. And also, when you go to competition, you do have to pay. But most of the time we do a lot of fundraising, so just keep that in mind. So in the previous videos, I said what undergrads I'm applying to, and then for medical school, I want to go to Harvard Med. I know, crazy. If you're worried about your grades currently for high school, I would say don't worry about it much. Medical school is mostly about undergrad and the MCAT. But if you still have time to get your grades up, I would say do that. I would suggest you do that in order to get into a better undergrad. And another question was, do I watch Grey's Anatomy? Of course I do. Duh, who doesn't? I'm waiting for season 13 right now. I got a question asking where I'm from. I'm from California originally, but I've lived in North Carolina for a couple of years of my life. So yeah. Oh, and I got a question about home studies. I would suggest talking to your school district, asking what your options are from home studies. Honestly, I don't think it'll affect you going into medical school. I think if you think it'll be better for you, then go for it. So the things I'm doing to get into a good undergrad, good grades, extracurriculars, and letters of recommendations. So make sure you. And when I say extracurriculars, I mean everything inside and outside of school, including volunteering at hospitals. I got a question if were APs hard. Of course, they were hard for me, of course, when I first started them, but once I got used to the studying, it wasn't that bad. As for hospitals I would like to work at, I honestly don't know yet. I would have to see until I get to that part. So if you didn't pass the AP test, I wouldn't worry about it that much because the AP test is only to get college credit, so you'll be fine.
The dead one.
That's so mean. Oh my God, did you hear her? No, my favorite character from Grey's Anatomy is Dr. Bailey. But Dr. Bailey's my favorite because she honestly just doesn't care at all. So she's my favorite. So for everyone saying,
no, I'm just like kind of like I really am thankful that I don't have acne anymore.
Really? So for everyone saying that my Snapchats have helped you guys a lot, thank you so much. I'm just trying to give as much as I can. I do not think getting B's in high school is bad, honestly. Maybe just try harder if you want, but it's not bad. And I just want to say thank you to all the questions you guys have been asking and how interactive you guys have been. It's really, really awesome. I didn't think to get this many questions, so thank you. I just got asked what my favorite tragedy on Grey's was. That's kind of sad, though. My favorite tragedy is when everyone got in a plane crash. It was really, really sad, and it was so intense. It was my favorite. The advisor for ACT and SAT, I suggest getting those like big blue books and just like going through them and doing practice ones. Do you like that song?
Baby, this is what you came for.
Oh, I would suggest networking for your letters of recommendation. When you intern for a doctor, or if you do, try to get a letter from them. But if you cannot get letters of recommendation from actual doctors or from anyone else, your teachers will do just fine. Your high school teachers will do just fine. I wouldn't say getting B's ruins your chances into getting a good undergrad. Just honestly, when you do apply to undergrad, make sure your essay is on point. Someone asked if they should take both ACT and SAT. If you really want to, and if you don't know what college, yes, do. Also, the tests are they're different. So one will be easier than the other. You'll get a probably better score than the other. So just whatever you want. I got a question why I want to go to Harvard. Honestly, I mean, it's Harvard. Who wouldn't want to go to Harvard? So that's my goal, Harvard. So I got a question on what networking is. Networking is basically, exchanging emails with doctors or nurses or anyone that can actually help you. You can network with your pediatrician. You can network with the doctor that you see when you go to the ER. You can basically network with anyone. Just remember to just ask. Most people in the medical field, they want to see you succeed and they want to see you follow your dreams. So most of the time, they will allow you to get their email. You just have to remember, to ask, be polite, and, if you say something, make sure you follow through. Currently, it is 10:30 p.m. and I will be heading to bed soon, so I am going to log off. But if you have any more questions, I'm just gonna put my Snapchat and Instagram right there, and you guys can ask me there. So thank you again, you guys. This was an amazing first takeover, and I'm so honored and happy that I was able to do the first one. So thank you. Okay, have a good night. I'm about to head off to bed, and I will leave my private Snapchat and Instagram right here for you guys if you guys have any more further questions.